Welcome in to the DNVR Avalanche pregame show live from the Toyota Lounge, powered by your Front Range Toyota dealerships. We got J. Mike and Rudo coming to you live as the Avs take on the Buffalo Sabres at home, looking to make it 5 straight wins. Obviously, a bunch of news today. Scott Wedgwood signs a 1-year deal. He is not playing tonight, so we're not going to talk about it a ton today. It'll be a big topic on tomorrow's podcast. If you're interested in that, you have to wait till tomorrow for that one. But for today, the Avs lineup seeing quite a few changes. Nichushkin obviously out with injury, officially listed as week to week now. But Sam Girard also back in the lineup, and as mentioned, Blackwood in net for Colorado. Buffalo's probably a good team to make some changes against.
Yeah, I mean, on top of the fact that they're struggling, 4 straight losses, 7 of 8 overall coming in.
Yep.
They're also on the second day of a back-to-back, third day at altitude. If there was ever a game to try some stuff out, to potentially work through some stuff, maybe get a look at some guys, tonight's tonight.
Yeah, 100%. The Avs can play a little bit fast and loose with it. With that being said, don't take this for granted. You got to take them seriously. You got to make sure you go out and get the win. But
they are an NHL team.
Exactly. On any given night, it can happen. But there is every advantage should be in the Avs' back pocket in this game as far as what they're going up against tonight.
You're well rested.
Yep.
Obviously, you've got some wonkiness with shifting in line. And, I mean, you're getting Blackwood back in the net. Not a ton of playing time so far this year. But, again, if you are going to throw him back into the fold, I really like the timing of this.
Yeah. It'll be interesting to see exactly how the Avs play out the next couple of weeks with their lineup as a whole. We'll talk about Brindley a little bit in a second more. But when you look top to bottom, the Avs are working on a number of things at every position. I already mentioned Girard coming back, but Blackwood still needs to start getting into games more regularly. This should be the start of that, where
you would think.
You certainly hope so.
Ideally.
And then the forward core, Cale Makar back up as the call-up. Awesome to see. But we are going to have a conversation about exactly how the minutes get spread around in this middle six now, because I do think it's not going to be as straightforward as people want it to be, myself included.
You don't think Brindley's just going to get 22 minutes all of a sudden?
It's not going to happen that way. I know officially listed as Brindley's the guy on the second line. We know better. He will play a good number of shifts with that second line, I'm sure. But I expect his time to be somewhere between 12 and 14 minutes on the ice tonight. I expect Landeskog to take shifts with that second line. I expect probably Olofsson to take shifts with that second line. It's very much going to be filling that Nichushkin hole by committee until Nichushkin starts getting back into that conversation. Or there's a world where Gavin Brindley shows up, scores 2 goals in the first 10 minutes of this game, and okay, maybe he earns it, but very unlikely to start that way.
I mean, you like how Landeskog's playing of late. I don't hate the idea of potentially getting him a couple more minutes tonight. Olofsson's been tremendous all season long.
Yeah.
It makes sense to go with the replacement by committee approach, especially to like as solid as Brindley has been, and he seemed like really natural fit. You love the instincts, you love the hustle. He's really showed out well since coming over to Colorado. You don't want to necessarily throw him in the deep end too early either. Now all of a sudden, maybe you're not feeling quite so high, and this feel good story starts to turn into more of a. All right, like when's
don't ruin a good thing.
Let's not ruin a good thing we've got going here.
Yeah, exactly. And I think it is important to note that there should very much be an expectations-free zone for Gavin Brindley moving up the lineup. They said it should be you played good, we have an opening, go get what you can, kid. If it doesn't work out,
we slide you right back to where you were.
Yeah, right, exactly. So don't overthink it when it comes to Brindley himself, obviously, but the fan base as well. You're going to get whatever you get out of Brindley in that role. We're going to see if he can really test his mettle against some top 6 guys. And if the answer is not yet, that's fine. The Avs aren't going to be scraping and clawing for it. Thankfully, they are deep enough at wing that you're not desperate for someone to step up out of nowhere and get something done. We already mentioned Olofsson and Landeskog. But even someone like Colton could jump up into that lineup spot if you needed to. So it really is not... Obviously, the Avs are worse without Nichushkin, but this is not a, oh, God, what are the Avs going to do type moment.
Certainly not the first time the Avs have been in this position the last couple of years. Been one of the struggles, probably been one of the reasons that the Avs didn't make deeper runs, a couple of years ago.
Yep.
From your standpoint, what do you miss most from Nichushkin not being in the lineup?
To be honest, I think right now what they're going to miss the most is his play driving on the second line. Bigger picture, he's one of the Avs' most well-rounded forwards, and you can trust him in both zones and do all of that, even if some of his defensive metrics don't look great this year.
That's kind of what I was going to say is the neutral zone stuff.
Yeah, one of the best players in the league at picking pockets, reading plays through the neutral zone, and disrupting stuff before it even gets started. But that second line has needed him to drive play because you haven't quite got the play driving you would like to at times out of Brock Nelson, Ross Colton, Gabe Landeskog, whoever else you want to throw on that second line. So that's the thing for me is, and this really falls on Brock Nelson more than anyone else, regardless of who replaces Nichushkin.
It's got to step up.
Yeah, he's got to be the guy driving play on that second line now that Nichushkin is gone. That's really the big role to fill. And I'm not saying a guy like Gavin Brindley can't help you there, but Nelson's got to be the anchor.
Well, I think you just got to be realistic. Again, kind of going back to what you said with what your expectations are for him moving and doing what he's doing on the fourth line is phenomenal. It's great. We're asking you to do something quite a bit more substantial now.
Harder to do on the second line. Yeah, Brindley does have some of that play driving ability, but I just can't have expectations of a guy who has 17 NHL games, is on the smaller side, has never really played against NHL top 6 competition before. He
might be young and ignorant enough to just kind of crash in there. I mean, he's all heart. Guy flies around out there.
Certainly, and like I'm a believer that he'll get there someday, but especially for smaller players, when you start playing against that top competition, there's a wake-up call that usually has to happen. And it's not that they can't do it, it's just that they're going to have to adjust the way they play hockey. Even players far more talented than Gavin Brindley have gone through that. Jack Hughes, a great example of a guy on the smaller side that had a bit of a learning curve when it came to doing that. And now he got there, and Jack Hughes is awesome, but expecting that day one, tough.
Turns out playing pro hockey is in fact challenging, despite what the Cale Makars and Nathan McKinnons of the world are able to do.
They really do, but they're a little more experienced than Brindley even. Cale Makar wasn't when he entered the league, but
I'll still never forget. I was at that playoff game against Calgary with my dad. Yeah. One of the more fun, random sporting events I've ever been to.
That picked a good one, yeah.
There's like a video. They played it on the Avs big screen for a couple of years after they score the game winner in OT. It's me and my dad just like, let's go.
Yeah, that's so sick.
Yeah.
But for normal humans, you don't just get to show up in the NHL and do that.
For people from this planet that weren't designed in a lab specifically to play hockey.
Must be nice for Cale. The other side of that, though, is hopefully Cale's getting a little more help on that blue line with Sam Girard.
Sammy G.
Yeah, he's back in the lineup. Just an objective upgrade, right? No offense to Jack Ashan. He did a fine job filling in, but Sam Girard is just a better version of Jack Ashan in every way. So pretty straightforward there. I'm assuming Girard's going to get eased in, and it'll be him and Malinsky on the third pair to start. But you never know. You could see him move up and play with Manson or play with Burns on that second pairing.
Do you like that pairing?
I like which one?
Malinsky and Girard?
Yeah, I think you have to understand it. You're not deploying them in the defensive zone to go hit people.
Yeah.
But certainly if you give them safe offensive shifts, you trust them against the right lines to get pucks moving forward and not have to defend in their own zone. They fit Avs hockey a lot in that regard. You do have to be a little bit careful. Girard is sneaky good defensively at times. I think people underrate him a lot because he has really good stick work and he understands how to play the game. but they're just going to get cooked in front of their own net. They're not
There's some
moving
limitations.
anybody. Yeah, exactly.
Size-wise.
So you have to understand how to deploy them and what you're giving up. And again, as we've seen the last couple of games, I'm sure there will be a pretty large rotation of people getting matched with whichever D partner happens to be going at the time. So if the Avs feel like they need more bodies, they can use Girard with Burns or Manson, and Malinsky can move to the left or whatever. So
nice thing is the depth, and that's where the addition of a Brent Burns becomes that much more big, you know?
Burns has been sneaky, very good lately. I know I didn't love him last game, but he's giving you consistency, playing 18, 19, 20 minutes a night, that maybe there's a world where you can let the gas off of him for a little bit. With Girard back, maybe Burns only has to play 16. Maybe you aren't quite cooking those 40-year-old legs as much.
The nice thing is you get the Olympic break this year too,
that does
though.
help.
And he's obviously not a guy that's going to factor into that.
Will not be making the Olympics, so he will have that break, which is a good shout out. I'm curious to see how the Avs as a full, complete D-core develop. I do think there is some sense of urgency where the Avs may not be completely comfortable with this D pairing, especially with Malinsky, even as good as he's been, just because they probably want another lefty. But if Malinsky just plays too good to get rid of, then
but
what
it's
are you
still
going to do?
potentially a spot you could see them maybe considering making a move.
Yeah, I think so. I think that's not right now, but when you get down to the trade deadline, I think that's something definitely on the block, unless Malinsky just proves to be too valuable to get rid of.
And if he keeps up at this pace, it's a conversation. He's been solid.
He's been really good. And hopefully Girard is another step into this D-core becoming borderline unstoppable. They really should have a top 3 D-core in the league when fully healthy. So it looks great on that front. And then we already mentioned Blackwood back in net. I don't know that there's a ton to really say about that at this point, other than
we'll see how he looks.
Exactly. So we'll leave it at that.
Big step in the process.
We do have the news from Morning Skate, which is probably mostly about Wedgwood, but, plenty of other stuff going on. Let's hear it from Bailey Curtis.
Lots of news today, guys, so I'm going to break it down for you as fast as I can. First off, we finally got an update from Coach Jared Bednar about Val Nichushkin. He mentioned at practice yesterday that he was going to miss some time, just not sure how much. We did get clarification that he will be week to week. He did mention that it doesn't sound like it's super serious, but enough to keep him out of the lineup for a bit. So we're wishing Val all the best as he recovers to get back to the lineup, especially with the season he's had so far. But with that said, Gavin Brindley, it looks like he will be slotting in for Nichushkin on that second line. Bednar mentioned the other day that Brindley could be a top 6 forward anywhere else in the league. Looks like he'll get that shot here tonight. With Brindley moving up to the second line, it looks like there's a vacancy in 4C. No worries, they have that covered as well. The team announced this morning that they have recalled Cale Makar, baby Makar, from the Colorado Eagles, playing with his big brother yet again, this time here in Ball Arena. Mentioned he's super excited. It is a dream come true for him. Moving down the ice, guys, talking about this blue line a little bit, looks like Sam Girard will be drawing back into the lineup here tonight. He missed some time due to an upper body injury, but he talked with media for the first time since that injury today. Says he's super excited. Things were a little out of his control. He's been focusing on what he can control recently, getting back to where he needs to be, where his game is concerned. Sounds like he's got his first opportunity to do that here tonight. And then finally, on the back end of the ice, possibly the biggest news of today, while Mackenzie Blackwood may be getting the start tonight, all eyes are on Scott Wedgwood, who just signed a 1-year extension with the team. Little, wishy-washy with how we thought next year was going to go, with Ilya Nabokov potentially coming into the system from the KHL. Sounds like Jared Bednar wants him to develop a little bit before putting him in an NHL situation. So getting Scott Wedgwood to sign that 1-year deal gives the Avs a little bit of reassurance that all is good and well in the crease on the back end. 7:08 p.m. puck drop here tonight. Altitude broadcast. We will see you here against the Buffalo Sabres.
Yep, puck drop approaching quickly. We do have the actual lineup card for the Colorado Avalanche, which, again, take it with a grain of salt. We do expect some mixing and matching there, but you do expect to see things at least start this way, and we'll see how it develops throughout the game. I don't know. I don't want to make any crazy observations because anything's possible. Brindley could look dope. He could look terrible. Anything in between. What I will say is the Avs, you would love to see get off to a good start in this one because Buffalo is on that Sega Baba. Avs have scored first in 6 of their last 7 games. So they've made a habit of getting out to early leads. You can do that against Buffalo tonight. You can maybe crush them and make them go away early.
Yeah, I mean, ideally you keep that up. I'd like to see them not only keep the streak, make it 7 of 8, score first once again, but I'm interested to see too, if they do that, do they keep the throttle?
You would
because
like them to,
they kind of coasted the other night
Yeah.
after you scored 28 seconds in. It's a little easy to do. All right, great start. Now
we're chilling,
skate around a little bit.
Yeah.
But the last thing you want to do is give a struggling team some confidence. Give them, hope is a powerful thing, and the more you let them stick around, we know hockey's a weird sport. You get a weird bounce or two, you get an untimely penalty. Now all of a sudden you're in a much tighter game than is necessary. And
yeah, you had that in that game, and then in Vancouver, both teams were on back-to-backs, and Vancouver clearly had the better legs throughout that night. And at a certain point, you want to see the Avs outwork the team against them, and there's no excuse for them not to against Buffalo tonight. So would really like to see that. You always worry a little bit, is this a trap game type of thing? Avs have been on a winning streak. You don't want that to happen, but they are on a homestand. This is something that they should be able to get up for. One of the many things that Jared Bednar talked about in his morning skate presser. So let's hear it from the head coach's mouth himself.
Before we start, we'll have Scott Wedgwood here after Jared speak about his 1-year extension. No problem. Open up for questions. Go ahead, Rachel.
Coach, you guys signed Scott Wedgwood to a 1-year extension.
Yeah.
And from a media standpoint, we're thrilled because he's
Yeah.
always a joy to interview.
Good content guy.
Yeah. What's it like from your end?
Yeah, no, it's good. I think it's well deserved. Loved his play last year and what he did, and then this year it seems like he's, he'd come out. So I don't want to say taking it to a new level, but I think the importance of him being solid in the net for us this part in the season with Blackie out is obviously key, and not only just kind of surviving without Blackie, but excelling in that position for us and giving us a chance to win every night. So I think the contract's well deserved.
Colleen, then Ryan.
Latest on Val.
Yeah, so he's going to be week to week. I can't give you like a tighter timeline than that until we see how he goes for the next handful of days. I would say early next week we can probably pinpoint it more, but nothing too serious, which is good, but serious enough that he's going to miss a handful of games at least.
Ryan.
Going back to Scott, and when you added him and Mackenzie, the conversation was about bringing Juice to the locker room.
Yeah.
Just what have you seen in his time here? How has he done that? How has he been in the locker room?
Well, it's another guy that loves to come to the rink every day, similar to a guy like Burns. He's got an outgoing personality, so vibe is always pretty high around him, and then when he goes on the ice and steps on the ice, there's a serious side to him as well. So it's kind of like the demeanor we want our team to have. We want to be loose and relaxed and have fun coming to the rink, but we're also looking for top tier results, and there's a time to get serious, and he's got a good balance with that. He's easy to talk to, so he talks with all of our young guys and older guys, gets along with everyone. So it's just, I think as many outgoing personalities as you can have in the room, and sort of get that communication started, it's always a good thing. And so as advertised for me off the ice, and then his play has been exceptional.
Eric and Corey.
I know he played good for you guys last year, Wedgwood, but it's been 30-something days since the season started. He already gets an extension. How much has this 11-1 run kind of led to? Let's get him locked up now. Let's know what we have for next year.
Well, yeah, I think it probably everything to do with it. We've got Nabokov coming, we've got Blackwood locked in, but Nabokov's never played in North America or in the NHL, so good prospect and has some growth that he still needs in his game. And when you get a guy that wants to be here and fits in your room and fits in your culture and then performs like this on the ice, I think the natural progression is try to get him locked up.
Corey.
We've talked about a lot about how healthy you've been, the top 9 forwards have played every game. You've also talked a lot about the depth. I guess just how do you replace Val in the interim here?
Gavin Brindley. That's how we do it. It's hard to replace guys like Val. And anyone in your top 6, but guys like Val and Lecky, like there's a handful of our guys, Nelly, that they might not be the top point producers on your team, when you got guys like Nate and Marty, but they fill a lot of holes and play in a bunch of different areas. So, with Val, it's power play, it's penalty kill, it's top 6 minutes, it's, empty net when you need one, and empty net when you got to keep the other team off the board. So there's a lot of different duties that will split up, but for the interim, we're going to elevate Brindley onto the second line with Nelson and Colton and see how that goes. It's a great opportunity for Gavin. I think he's earned that. And we'll just roll from there and see how it goes, and then hopefully Val's back, soon.
Jesse, then Ryan.
I guess, how do you guys are playing really good hockey. You've had a couple big games here these last couple of weeks, playing against top teams. Buffalo's near the bottom of the standings. They played last night. How do you avoid your team from taking their foot off the gas for even a night like tonight?
Well, it's because the way we explain it and the way we try and present it to our team is it's not about Buffalo, and it's not really about Anaheim or Edmonton. It's about us and what we're trying to do and how we're trying to play, and what can lead us to playing winning hockey and consistently winning hockey, and not only now, but the focus on what it takes to win at the most difficult time of the year. And that's sort of our focus and our goal, and the guys understand it. They bought into it. I think we've been a really consistent team to this point, and tonight's really no different. There's lots of similarities, oddly enough, with Anaheim and Buffalo. Both teams can really score off the rush. They've got some high-end talent, some talented shooters. They make a lot of passes once they cross your blue line and get super dangerous. They're not afraid to try high-skilled plays, toe drags, challenge you one-on-one when they cross the line. We saw that at Anaheim the other night. We had some problems with it for part of the game. We've looked at it. We're going to try and correct it tonight against Buffalo. It's a little bit up and down the ice, can have a good tempo to it, so you got to be ready to take advantage of the things they give you at the other end, and we were confident that if we play the right way defensively, we'll get enough chances to win the hockey game and turn them loose again and do the best we can.
Right.
Sam Girard said he's back tonight. Just is it a nice stretch of early in the year to get him back, and are you anticipating putting him back with Burns, or how do you break up?
No, he'll play with Malinsky. Yeah, and they'll shuffle around a little bit too, obviously. We've liked the Manson-Burns pairing. They've done a nice job with G out, and G's coming back after a little bit of a break here, so he'll go in and play with Malinsky, who's playing some really good hockey right now as well.
Last two, Megan Bailey.
It seems like outside of Taves and Makar, the rest of the back end is also really involved in contributing offensively, and I imagine as a coach, it's not new instructing your players to shoot more, but what do you think boils down to that actually coming to fruition in execution?
I don't think it's anything new for our team. I think our back end's led the NHL or been top 2 in the NHL in defense scoring for years. It's just a mentality and a style of play that we've developed, and or we've implemented. We didn't develop it. It's so hard to create offense nowadays that you need all 5 guys involved in the attack, and you see the teams that are scoring the most. Anaheim, prime example, we just played them. Their D were in every rush. Their D were highly active in the offensive zone. Buffalo's a little bit the same. It's the balance that's key to us, is not just doing that, but also knowing when not to do it and what sort of the secondary plan is to be able to get back and defend when your D get active, right? And so that's something we're still working on. It's something we had a little trouble with the other night against Anaheim. D gets involved, forward covers, and then he doesn't cover, and they're getting some rush attacks. So you got to take it a step further, and that's kind of what we're working on right now as a group. But I've always liked their D involvement. It's something we encourage. We try to work on it every day in practice, in our drills, and we got a lot of guys that like to get up and go. It's kind of just the way our personnel is built, which is why we play that way.
Go ahead, Bailey.
With the vacancy, Brendan moving on Val out of the lineup, the Eagles are performing really well tonight. Cale Makar gets a call up tonight.
Yeah.
Is there a plan to cycle through some of those guys, give them different looks?
Not yet. I mean, we've seen Nielsen, we've seen Makar, right? Nichushkin's out to a great start there. I'd like to look at him at some point too. It'll just depend on, making sure these guys are getting enough. Like a guy like Cale Makar's development's really important to us, right? So he's come up here. If he plays well, then he'll probably continue to play. No decisions are final. We evaluate him on a daily basis. We also want him to get lots of minutes and play in different situations that he might not play here. We just kind of go game at a time and see how they're doing down there, certain guys, and how the guys up here perform, and then making sure that they're all getting the ice time they need to continue to develop.
Thanks, Jared.
Yep. Thanks.
So there you go. Avs do say they're looking at other people, but Cale Makar getting the call again. Hopefully he looks good. I think we should all prepare ourselves for a 4-minute night for the fourth line, just because we know better. Anyway, we can get to the stats of tonight's game. Buffalo's kind of an interesting team. When you look at their actual statistics, they're not as bad as last in the East. They're closer to the middle of the pack, still on the wrong side of it, but maybe not quite as bad as their stats, or rather their standings indicate. However, they've yet to win a game on the road. On the road, Buffalo is 0-4-2. The Avs have been quite good at home so far. The Avs continue to be dominant possession-wise. Buffalo is meh. The one thing Buffalo is great at, penalty kill. Top 2 penalty kills in the league tonight. So don't expect your power play to get a lot done for you. You're going to have to beat this team at 5-on-5. Anything else would be a bonus. And then, weirdly, Buffalo is the worst team in the league at face-offs. So when you're talking about that possession battle, the Avs really should be starting with the puck a lot. They should hold on to the puck a lot. You should see a lot of Avs offense in this game.
On paper, you like everything about this matchup going in?
There is almost no downsides to this for the Avs. Of course, if they find a way to play down and lose, that'll just make it even more frustrating. So don't do that. Win like you're supposed to. That's where I'm at with that one. J. Mike, crystal ball time. Bust open a score. Give me a name. What do you got going for tonight's game?
I'm going 4-1 Avs, relatively smooth, but think it's maybe tighter than anticipated for a while. Pull away late in the second.
There you go.
Give me a Nathan MacKinnon goal tonight.
Nathan MacKinnon.
Easy pick. I know, not much of a
Sometimes
prediction.
you got to take the easy ones.
Sometimes
I've been picking
take the
Natchez
layup
like crazy, so
Yeah.
I can't talk.
I got lucky on Landy the other night. Let's not push my luck.
I'm going to knock it down even another notch. I'm going 3-0. Don't think we're seeing a ton of scoring. I would like to see a good game out of Blackwood. Like you said, the second half of this game, you really should see Buffalo's legs go a bit. If the Avs can just control the first half of the game, they should really be in their hands. As far as a goal scorer, I'm going to go with Brock Nelson. I said he's the guy who's got to step up on that second line possession-wise, so let's see him do it and get directly on the score sheet because of it.
Playing all those East Coast teams he knows so well now,
He should be familiar.
Yeah.
He should be familiar with these guys. We can get into my pregame picks as well, which are presented by Bet365, where, of course, things are never ordinary. I did take the Nelson goal there, plus 250. Not too bad. Also took a Lehkonen power play point, even though I'm not expecting power play stuff. It would be nice for the Avs power play to produce 3 games in a row. I'm just saying.
That would be kind of fitting too. Top 2 PK units, and then all of a sudden you get a 3 for 4 on the power play night.
It just means they're due to suck, right? That's Lecky also back on that top unit with Val out, so maybe a bit of good money to find there on that one. And then I said 3-0. Blackwood shutout. Why not have a little bit of fun with it?
I like the juice.
Down on that.
You're not playing an offensive, juggernaut.
Yeah. A team that if you were going to do it against, it might be one. Not expecting to hit all 3 bets tonight like I have a few times this year, but, at that plus money, you hit one of those and you're feeling pretty good. So make sure you do your betting with Bet365. Of course, when you do gamble with them, use the DNVR 365 code, but you must be 21 or older, physically located in Colorado, and if you or somebody you know has a gambling problem, call or text 1-800-GAMBLER today. Just about a minute here till we jump over to the watch-along. J. Mike, how do you avoid trap games? How do you avoid playing down to maybe a weaker team?
I mean, that's where you go all to the cliches about process, right? It's not about the opponent. It's about, the man in the mirror. I mean, it is one of those instances where I think you kind of see where your team is at mentality-wise. What kind of drive are you going to have on a night-to-night basis? We've heard so much about how hungry this team is, and I would say through roughly 21% of the season, they've lived up to that.
Yeah, for sure.
It's a long season for a reason. Can you keep it up? Can you continue to win the games you're supposed to win? This is one of them.
You make your life easier if you win this one. You beat Buffalo tonight. At worst, you go 500 on this homestand. Now, you want better than 500 at home, but you've set yourself up for success. Go get it done. We're going to wrap up this pregame show. We appreciate all y'all watching. Jump over, join me and Micah on the watch along, and then, of course, J. Mike and I will break it all down for you post-game no matter what happens. So we'll see you in a few minutes. This has been the DNVR Avalanche pregame show.
We all silly like the mayor.